I have tons of maxed out mods, and I'm going to tell you how I got all of these. Real talk, no BS. Bandidos, what's up? Your boy Tux here. Know that feeling when you're scrolling through YouTube, binge watching these insane build videos where creators flex their setups with perfect 12% critical hit damage mods slotted in every piece? Or that unbreakable tank build stacked with 13% protection from elites across the board? And you're sitting there thinking, how on earth did they farm all those maxed rolls without losing their mind? It's easy to get jelly seeing those god rolls making legendary feel effortless, but the truth is, most don't show the real grind behind it. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on mod farming in the Division 2, using hard data from thousands of drops to prove what actually works, so you can level up your inventory without endless frustration. Let's get into it and turn you into that one posting those envy-worthy builds. Let's do this.
Wait, did we just become best friends? So nice to meet you. I think you're cool.
Piece of shit wristwatch.
Before we jump into strategies, I need to correct some bad intel floating around, where peeps are telling new players to rush straight to Summit Floor 90 on Legendary, with 5 directives active to snag those maxed rolled mods. Look, it's not a horrible farm if you're advanced and geared up, but for noobs, it's a rough spot because the difficulty spikes hard and you'll spend more time trying to survive than actually looting. Plus, when you factor in how quality, time, and scaling work in the game, it doesn't pay off like people claim. As the loot power distribution graph shows, bumping to Legendary does shift the curve for better average rolls, from heroic 60% minimum and 75% average to Legendary's 70% minimum and 85% average, which sounds great on paper, but the edge for true 100% max stats is slim, maybe improving from 1 in 500 odds on heroic to 1 in 300 on Legendary. Process that for a minute. The catch is those slower clears mean fewer overall drops, so you're often better off cranking volume on lower difficulties. And this logic applies to almost anything you're farming in the game. Tons of new players dive in thinking it's the fast track, only to come up empty-handed after hours, frustrated and burned out. RNG is the real boss here, deciding who gets lucky, and this method suits experienced agents who can handle the heat, clear it efficiently, and without constant deaths. Truth is, veterans that are actually doing this are likely just trying to complete their 13% protection from elite set and already have maxed out mods. If you really want God-rolled mods, then you need sheer volume. Let's cover all the ways to make that happen. First, queue up for a countdown on challenging difficulty. This mode's perfect for farming because it's fast-paced, objective-driven, and dishes out tons of loot per run. Challenging drops the same quality as heroic in here. Don't forget that fact. And it has a targeted loot system built in, so no need to run directives. And if you happen to need exotics or named items, even better. Countdown funnels everything your way if you extract successfully. And don't forget to visit the Countdown vendor. One dedicated player tracked 400 full runs, pulling in 3,589 offensive mods, 3,400 defensive, and 3,500 utility mods total. Out of that haul, they scored 53 maxed offensive, 47 maxed defensive, and 50 maxed utility. Crunch the numbers. That's about 26 mods per run on average, with roughly a 1.4% shot at each being a perfect roll, meaning one god roll every 68 to 70 mods or so. Runs clocking at about 19 minutes on average with a solid group, so you're looking at about 127 hours for similar results if you're consistent. The key here is multitasking and efficiency. Make sure you have a solid enough build so you can extract consistently. Ensure your backpack has a lot of space, like over 50 slots, so you can grab and go. And also use the grind time to level up your proficiency on weapons and gear, because you're going to be doing a lot of this, so you might as well. Prioritize hunters and the black and yellow SHD crates for extra drops and SHD calibrations. That's all important for optimization and expertise. But remember, while volume is high, max rolls, like 13% protection from elites, feel rarer in this mode. So temper expectations for specifics. This one's often not mentioned. If you see mods in an ideal zone in the open world, that's a good day. I love farming the East Mall and the Southwest, for example. Lots of easy to get to control points. For this type of mod farming, I recommend setting it to heroic with 4 to 5 directives. Directives give you about a 3% increase in chance for targeted loot drops. And while you're at it, it looks like you're farming XP too. So put on an XP farm build that makes this content feel like it's on easy mode. Now, if you're new around here and you need to know how all of that works, I got your back. Check out this video I created. Just so you know, I got a 13% protection from Elites mod on Heroic at the crash site control point. It wasn't even mods as targeted loot. You never know. Now, if solo grind suits you or you want more control, shift over to the summit on floor 10, cranking to Heroic with 4 or 5 directives active. This setup shines because you can reset the floor quickly, turning it into a repeatable loot loop without long setups. So, flip your targeted loot to gear mods in the menu. And these are the directives I recommend. Skill cooldown, Fog of War, no regen, Ragers, Ammo Hoarders, or Scavenge skills. And this all depends on your build. And these translate to a higher chance of targeted loot drops. Expect about 10 mods per 20 minutes in here, with one loop wrapping in 1 to 3 minutes if your build's tuned right. Why floor 10? It's easy to climb to on normal difficulty in just a few minutes, and it's a boss floor. Once you arrive, go back to the lobby and change the settings to the correct difficulty. This is going to be heroic, even if you're a new player, and this is the time to add those directives. But if you've been around for a while, then I recommend legendary. The trick is to not completely clear out the enemies to progress to the next room. All you're looking to do is eliminate the boss. So leave an NPC alive while you focus on the boss. And that's why this all goes so fast and why heroic isn't going to be the hardest thing even for a newer player. Once you eliminate him, you can kill yourself and let them kill you. But doing that sometimes results in the boss not dropping loot again the next time around. You can avoid this hassle just by respawning back to the lobby instead. This will become very easy and routine. If you get a team together, you can do some crazy stuff on this floor. If you're wondering, I'm running this build in here. Check out the video for details. And the other builds in this video will also work out great, even if you're a new player. For the bold ones out there who want to push limits, floor 90 in the summit on legendary difficulty with 5 directives is a decent farm because of the 3 bosses that spawn. But it is not really that much different than just fighting one boss on floor 90. Here's your choices: shorter fight for less quantity or longer fight for higher quantity, but roughly the same quantity of mods per hour. Only do legendary if you've got a strong build already. New players, steer clear until you're geared up. This is where the big risks meet big rewards. Legendary enemies hit hard and they're a pain in the ass, but they drop premium loot, and max rolls pop more often due to the quality bump. But keep in mind the phrase more often is relative here. Most experienced players don't farm loot in legendary difficulty simply because it's not efficient. That being said, there are some very advanced farms you can do on legendary. For example, there's a team up floor 100 legendary farm with 5 directives, which is out of the scope for this video. Farms like these require coordinated groups and builds, so most don't even bother. Also, most people don't find the summit as a great farm in general. Although there is a targeted loot system and directives to boost targeted loot drops, the quantity of drops you get is relatively low per hour compared to alternatives. This method's about quality over quantity, ideal if you're topping off optimization for your endgame builds where every percent counts. But as we saw from the loot curve, the edge isn't huge enough to outweigh slower clears. To update my results, to experience the grind firsthand like you would, I ran a time test on all the methods and difficulty levels. I did countdown on challenging and heroic. I did summit floor 10 on heroic with 4 directives and legendary with 5 directives. The goal was to snag maxed out mods, and in about 2 hours total farming, I ended up with 146 mods overall, and not a single one maxed. Fail with a capital L. So how did I get all these max mods in my inventory? I didn't find them. They found me over time through regular play. I get that's not the most exciting news you heard today, but the real deal is there is no absolute best farm for maxed out mods. That's the bad news. But the good news is there is a best farm for high quality mods overall. If you can handle floor 10 on Legendary with 5 directives, that's the top spot for quality, and you'll be farming the Bighorn exotic assault rifle at the same time. A farm loop will take you only a couple of minutes, but that's still a big ask for a new player. The real best farm for high quality mods is going to be Countdown on Challenging, with the goal not to exclusively chase maxed ones, though it's awesome if you snag one, but to focus on pulling high quality mods that boost your builds right away. Let me just share a quick personal story on farming these mods, because I've been there. I've snagged 7 or 8, maybe 9 maxed protection from elite mods now, plus all the other maxed out ones I could dream of for my builds. But I didn't get my first 13% protection from elites, the rarest and most sought after mod out there, until I hit SHD level 4000. And that was way before Countdown even existed and way before XP boost events existed. So probably hundreds of hours. Out of all the max protection from elites I've got, 3 came from legendary strongholds, and 1 dropped while farming the summit on a random low level floor. I was testing summit for mod drops. I started on legendary with directives and came up completely empty after a bunch of tries. As soon as I switched to heroic, boom, a 13% protection from elites mod dropped within moments. That was the first and last gear mod I ever specifically farmed for. All my other max protection from elite mods came from heroic open world, specifically control points. Here's a reality check to set your expectations straight and help you decide if chasing maxed mods is even worth the sweat, or if dialing it back to high quality ones makes for a more satisfying grind. Digging into that dedicated players data, 10,540 mods yielding 150 maxed at about 1.4% odds per mod. You're looking at roughly 49 mods collected before you hit a 50% chance of scoring your first maxed one, which shakes out to around 36 minutes in Countdown if you're matching their pace. If you're aiming for the typical grind most folks experience before that first maxed mod drops, basically the average wait time, it's around 70 mods, giving you about a 63% chance, and that'd take roughly 51 minutes. These aren't guarantees, just statistical tipping points where luck starts leaning your way more often than not. The point is, even in an efficient setup, you're committing real time for that dopamine hit. And if RNG ghosts you like it did in my 2-hour test, frustration builds fast. Farming specifically for maxed rolls can feel like chasing ghosts, especially when high quality mods, like those rolling in the 80 to 90% range, deliver most of the build punch without the endless disappointment. And I got plenty of those. They're easier to land, stack up quicker, and let you iterate on setup sooner, turning the process into something gratifying instead of a slog. If your playtime or your sanity is limited, lean into that. Grab solid upgrades that work now and let the maxes trickle in naturally as you rack up the hours. This is how it happened for me. It's less about forcing the perfect drop and more about enjoying the game without burning out on the hunt. Truthfully, I've never farmed for mods except for that one test. And to be honest, it feels like a big waste of time. These days, even with better farming options than before, I prefer skipping dedicated mod grinds altogether. The drop rates are too low, and when you consider the full list of possible gear mods across offensive, defense, and utility, the odds of landing the exact max roll you want are brutal, like stacking multiple layers of RNG against you. The dedicated player did over 400 runs in Countdown to get his maxed out mods, but the most important data point his efforts provided was time. That was over 125 hours. Once you've logged in enough hours in the game, these mods start finding you naturally. You don't need to chase them this aggressively. I remember as a new player, I didn't see maxed mods until one day I did, and then they just kept coming. It was almost like someone hit a switch to turn on the maxed mod drops for my account. I get most of my god rolled mods just running legendary strongholds. Not tons per run, but on a good day, 1 or 2, yeah, that's realistic. If you forced me to choose a dedicated farm, I'd go with Countdown on Challenging, looking for high quality because you're scooping up other loot and currency for exotic caches along the way. If you forced me to pick a farm for maxed out mods, it's going to be floor 10 on Legendary with directives. But let the community hear from you. What's your best and worst experience farming for mods? See you in the comment section. Tux out. Thank you for hanging out with me. I'm Tuxedo Bandido, and if you found this video helpful, be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss out on the good stuff I have coming for you. And if you like content like this, be sure to check out the video I have recommended for you right here. If you have anything you would like me to cover, be sure to let me know in the comments below. And thank you to all the channel members and donors who make things possible. Tux Nation wouldn't be the same without you.
When you buy a game from Ubisoft, enter the creator code Tuxedo Bandido to support the channel. Easy peasy.
Wait, did we just become best friends?